The Nippon Daily News has revealed a secret Arasaka project called Relic.
What if I told you that everything V went through, an AI sharing their mind, their memories being rewritten, their entire identity questioned? Militech was already doing that to a random person on the streets of Night City. No Arasaka, no Relic. Just a trauma team driver who shot his officer trying to save a kid. And then woke up as someone else entirely.
Good morning, Night City! Yes!
Okay, Cyberpunk throws you into one of the most personal stories in the genre. A dying merc with a dead legend living in their head. But the game never really answers the deeper question. How did anyone figure out to do that? How do you get an AI to survive inside a human brain? Cyberpunk, no coincidence, is a novel that most people ignored. Let's be honest. Quiet release, no major creator touched it. And that's a shame because buried inside what looks like a generic Night City heist is something disturbing. A secret joint program between Arasaka and Militech. A man who doesn't know that he's a test subject and a corporation watching his every move. His name is Zor, except it isn't. His memories are his, except they're not. His mission is personal, except it was made up. This is the story of the ARS-03, the failed experiment that tells us exactly why the relic exists, why V is so important, and what corporations are willing to do to crack open the Blackwall. The story starts with a small crew getting forced into a job. Not hired, forced. A fixer named Warden blackmails them into attacking a Militech convoy in Arroyo. The crew is a mix of people who normally wouldn't work together. Zor is a quiet guy, living a low life. Aya is a doll trying to support a child with special needs. Ron is a struggling Reaper dog, drowned in debt. Milena is a Militech corpo, and Albert is a young netrunner with big ambitions. We'll get back to him later. The heist goes through, but something feels off. The job is sloppy, and more importantly, Militech was underprepared. Why? That's your first sign. This wasn't just a random job. After the heist, we follow Zor's daily life. He lives alone, watches TV, scrolls the web, has an antique keyboard. He likes to keep things simple, but small details don't add up. Why would a fixer choose amateurs to strike a Militech convoy? We are hinted that Zor is a test subject by the random cryptic logs that are scattered around the book. They are written by the ARS-03 itself and sent back to Militech for investigation. This ARS-03 is not a normal cyberware. Zor believes he has a past, a family, a tragedy. His family died because of an airstrike on their neighborhood. A reason for who he is. None of it is real. He's actually a man named Jay, a former trauma team driver. At one point, he tried to save someone he wasn't allowed to save. He went against orders in a cyber psycho attack and shot his commander. That's when Militech took him. They wiped his memory, implanted the ARS-03, and built a new identity on top. So Zor isn't just a guy with an implant. He's a controlled test subject. Later, the crew gets pulled into another job. This time they're stealing tech from a Militech warehouse. On their own, no fixers. The job is chaotic. They start a fire, they rescue some kids that were trapped in the fire, they fight guards escape barely alive and get chased by Militech. However, a drone refuses to engage them. The ARS-03 made it stand down. It feels messy, but from the outside it's perfect, because every situation tests something. Stress response, moral decisions. Militech isn't trying to stop them. They're watching. Now let's talk about Albert. He's one of the most important characters for understanding the bigger picture. Albert is obsessed with the net, specifically what's beyond the Blackwall. In Cyberpunk 2077, we hear about this all the time. The Blackwall is what keeps rogue AIs contained after the data crash. Most people see it as a protection. Albert sees it as a barrier to evolution. His goal is simple: digitize his mind and send it beyond the Blackwall. Live forever in the net. He thinks that the AIs will accept his datagrams, help him by creating an operating system for him, and even work together with them. By the end of the story, he actually manages to do it. For a brief moment, and then he gets absolutely ravaged by the rogue AIs. That's the key detail. A human mind alone can't survive in the net. This is where Zor comes back into focus. Militech's real goal isn't just control, it's access. They want to break past the Blackwall safely. And to do that, they need something new, a human brain combined with an AI, working together in real time, unlike the engrams, which are copies. Militech wants a hybrid, something that can think like a human, but operate like an AI. Zor is their prototype. Towards the end of the story, everything starts collapsing. Ron is hunted by animals, Maelstrom kidnaps Ea's daughter. Zor has a clear objective: kill Katsuo, an Arasaka figure. This isn't just a random target. It's the executive Mylena was negotiating with. This is the test. Militech wants to see if the AI inside Zor can push him to complete the mission. Mylena gives Zor exact coordinates where to find Katsuo, and when the moment comes, Zor doesn't do it. He hesitates. He thinks about Ea and saving her daughter. He chooses not to kill. From Militech's perspective, that's failure. The AI didn't fully take control. After that, things move fast. Everyone wants their hands on that container, the gang, Maelstrom, animals. Warden gives them another job, and then betrays them. A final setup leads to a massive shootout in which Ron unfortunately dies. Mylena then brings Zor to have tea with Katsuo. When he threatens Katsuo, he reveals the program and the test Zor is facing. He hesitates once again. Trauma team show up. Before stealing their AV, Zor is recognized. Jay?
Lights out. Is this who you really are?
Yep, goddamn right. Corps have already taken the world for their own. Now they're coming for us.
Only by the end, we actually learned the full picture. Militech orchestrated everything. The jobs, the crew, the threats, even the relationships. Ron was the surgeon who implanted the ARS-03, and then his memory got wiped. Aya was meant to influence Zor emotionally. Milena was tied to the corporate side of the test. The fixer was just a middleman. Zor was being observed the entire time. His implant could even be controlled remotely. At one point, it hacks a drone to protect him. At another, it feeds him motivations. This wasn't a life. It was a live simulation. There's one last detail that sums everything up. The container they clapped at the start, the thing everyone risked everything to get. Money, freedom, survival. At the end, it's empty. Because the reward was never the point. The data was. Now let's connect this directly to Cyberpunk 2077. In the game, V ends up with Johnny Silverhand in their head. That's already a human and a construct sharing one brain. And unlike Zor, it kinda works. They talk, they argue, they even influence each other. Johnny changes as well as V. That's something Militech couldn't achieve with the ARS-03. And that's the breakthrough, because this kind of hybrid is exactly what you'd need to go beyond the Blackwall. Not just a human, not just an AI. Both working together. This is where Arasaka comes in. Arasaka focused on engrams and Soulkiller. Militech focused on integration, keeping the human alive while adding AI. Different approaches, same goal, reaching beyond the Blackwall. It worked for Alt, it worked for V, controlling what's on the other side. We learn from Katsuo that there's a race to see who can reach the Blackwall first. There's a piece of Cyberpunk that fits perfectly into all of this. The Perales storyline. If you play that questline, you already know how unsettling it is. Jefferson and Elizabeth look like a normal political couple. Ambitious, clean image, rising fast in Night City. But the deeper you dig, the more wrong everything feels. Their apartment is being watched, security systems are compromised, and then you find out the truth. Their minds are being altered by none other than potentially Militech, hinted at by the Militech antenna on their home. As you know, V's involvement is cut short by an unknown caller, similar to one police officer in the book.
Yeah?
It doesn't matter what you tell him. It doesn't matter what you think of doing or do. You can't change anything.
What?
We know who you are. We know what you are. We know what you want. You are playing with fire. Don't dare cross the line.
Memories changed, thoughts adjusted, personalities subtly rewritten over time. And the scariest part? They don't even realize it. Now think about Zor again. His memories, fake, his motivations, influenced. The Perales are the same idea, just more refined. No AI implant, no violent stress tests, just quiet, controlled manipulation. This is what happens when the experiment evolves. With Zor, Militech needed chaos. They needed extreme situations to see how the AI would react. By the time we get to the Perales, they don't need that anymore. They can guide a person's life from the background, without the person ever noticing. And here's where it connects directly to the Blackwall problem. If you can rewrite memories, influence behavior and control perception, then you're already halfway to merging human and AI thinking. The Perales aren't just a conspiracy story. They're proof that the technology from no coincidence didn't fail. It improved. Zor was unstable, he questioned things, he resisted. The Perales, they smile for the cameras. They keep moving forward exactly how someone wants them to. And that raises a bigger question. If corporations can already control people like this, if they can already rewrite identity without detection, then what happens when They combine that with something like the Relic, with a full AI construct in the mind. Because at that point, you're not just influencing a person, you're building one. And suddenly, Zor doesn't feel like a failure. He feels like the first draft, a rough version of something that by the time of Cyberpunk 2077 is already working in the background. Which means the real question isn't whether the experiment succeeded, it's how many people in Night City are already part of it. There's another detail that a lot of people miss, but it connects almost perfectly to everything we've talked about. Sandra Dorset. You know, you meet her at the very start of the game, she looks like a small job, just another rescue. But if you actually follow her story and read the shards that are available in the quest Full Disclosure, you realize this is one of the clearest examples of what corpos are already doing. Sandra stole intel from Night Corp, tied directly to something called Operation Carpe Noctem. And this isn't vague or theoretical. A shard spells it out. Night Corp developed an AI called CN07. At first, it looks like a security tool, something to bypass the systems, access networks, but that's not what it's really doing. It's targeting people. One of the test subjects, labeled HK13, was described as calm and empathetic, normal, stable. Then CN07 starts influencing them. Not directly, not in a way they can notice. Subliminal conditioning. Small changes over time. Until one day, a simple argument over coffee turns into something else entirely. HK13 strangles a coworker and then jumps out the window. They're not trying to figure out if they can control people anymore. They already can. Now they're figuring out how to do it without anyone noticing. And once you have that, merging a human mind with an AI isn't some distant goal. It's just the next version of the same system. And that's what makes Cyberpunk so interesting. You're not the beginning of the story. You're the latest version of it, built on people who didn't make it. Zor was ARS-03. There was an ARS-01, an ARS-02. People whose names we'll never know, whose stories were never told, because they were never people to the corporations running the tests. They were iterations. And V is just a more sophisticated version of the same experiment. One that finally produced interesting enough data to matter. Night City doesn't change. It doesn't learn. It optimizes. Every death, every failure, every person burned through in the process, it all feeds back into the next version and the next, until finally the product works. Until finally the hybrid holds. Until finally the Blackwall has something on the other side worth talking to. Zor failed so that someone like V could almost succeed. And somewhere out there, ARS-04 is failing so that whoever comes after V doesn't have to hesitate.